Oh, today I'm gonna talk about the new James Gunn movie, The Suicide Squad. Yes. So, if y'all don't know, I actually did not so long ago a honest critic on the original Suicide movie, and other than this sucks. There's little to say. But James Gunn, the most amazing human being who has the most fucked up mind. When the trailers say from the horribly beautiful mind of James Gunn, they weren't kidding. Like, this is the kind of guy who can say crazy stories and say the weirdest shit, but people love him. Like, he literally got fired from Disney all because of 10-year-old tweets. I mean, 10-year-old tweets. He's obviously not the same guy. He was obviously provocateur back in the day. He literally made Super the same year in that movie as, Elliot Page, before he transitioned, raping Wayne Wilson. Like, that's just, what? That's just so weird. So it makes sense that in 2010 or 2009, he was making weird tweets. And the only reason those tweets got out because some right-wing wing said, hey, this left-winger James Gunn says the weird shit. Weird thing, James Gunn is probably just mocking Hollywood because he was in the Hollywood system since, like, the 2000s. He worked on Warner Brothers, he worked a lot of shit. And he probably saw a lot of that shit went down, that no one talked about the Me Too movement. And he's very supportive of those people coming out. So he's probably seen, like, maybe not that terrible stuff, maybe more like, the producers chased around the short-skinned girls, the secretaries and shit like that. So he started making all those jokes. And then, if you notice, you saw that whole had the flight logs on Epstein's quote-unquote pedophile island. And people were saying, James Gunn's on there, he's a real pedophile. Well, like, if you actually look at the names of the people who are on the quote-unquote fly list, Eminem is on there, Marshall Mathers. Now, think about this. Eminem, the man who always does is rap how much he loves his daughter, how much he would, and he literally destroyed a man's career. He destroyed Machine Gun's career just for even talking about his daughter online. Do you think this man will go to a little pedophile island? No. Now, what do all these people have in common? James Gunn, Eminem, Quentin Tarantino, all these people who are apparently on the flight logs. They're all leftist and all fucking hate Trump. And the press release, this quote-unquote air logs are all right-wing nuts trying to left look bad. Saying, yeah, you all left were on this pedophile island with Jesse. So what on the flight log? They got a fucking private plane. Flight log doesn't mean shit. You can land there and do nothing. You can just fucking Stephen Hawking, all these great business people were on that island because what? They're talking business. They weren't fucking kids. So why am I going on this? Oh yeah, because Jason was a nice dude. Anyway, what was I talking about? Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad is a sequel. It's not a reboot as much as they're trying to make it. Like, they really don't want to end a Suicide Squad. DC thought they fucked up, so they hired James Gunn. Why? Because Marston Disney literally, like, a couple months later said, can you come back, please? Like, Guardians 3 will suck without you, because it really will. Like, nobody can make Guardians other than James Gunn. But here's the cool thing. He literally agreed to Suicide Squad. He did it, because he's a man of his fucking word. He said, I'm doing Suicide Squad, I'm fucking doing Suicide Squad. He's a perfect person. Why? James Gunn can make the ugliest, weirdest things the most beautiful and sweet things ever. Like, I just saw a movie where Elliot Page, before he transitioned, as Ellen Page rapes another person, but, like, it was sad and funny. And then later, Elliot Page's character, spoilers for Super, a terrible movie, fucking dies. Like, the movie in Super is very graphic, but it's funny. But this is, like, so out of nowhere, like, Elliot Page's are slowing him down while he's running, and he stops and the fucking thing is exposed in his face. In transition at this point, but still his face blows up, and it's sad because you see Elliot Page's face looking at Rainn Wilson, because Elliot Page really did love Rainn Wilson, but Rainn Wilson was so enthralled with getting his wife back that he had no interest in Elliot Page, even though at that time he was a woman. Anyway, what I'm saying is, he had no interest, but Elliot Page was so interested in him because he was so cool to him. Like, Elliot Page worked in a comic book store. This is a literal superhero. He was a dweeby guy, but he was nice to him. And again, she tried to have sex with him, and of course, Rainn Wilson, who was married, even though his wife doesn't love him anymore, he loves his wife and just says no. And of course, Elliot Page forced himself. And it's a really weird scene because you typically don't hear of males being abused, but it does happen. And a lot of times they don't speak up because they feel empowered, or not empowered, but not having any power over a woman, which is why there's a lot of Mobius victims and they don't speak up, which is really sad. But the thing is, Super is very funny and very sweet. So James Gunn did that with Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad has a fucking shark character who eats people. He's like the sweetest thing. Like he said, the original idea was to have the hammerhead like in the comics, but he thought it'd be funnier. He had like a fucking dad bod, was extremely like not in shape, but was super strong, and was just lovable, and it works. Also, that he's voiced by Sylvester Stallone, and he's really funny in the scene. Any scene King Shark talks is so funny because he has very immature speech. Like one of the best scenes is in the trailer, where they're all having that, answering questions. He's really senses, he doesn't know what they're doing. He's very not in the know what's going on. He just sees this thing and destroys it. He's basically the muscle of the group. Now, what is the plot? So the plot is, yes, this place after Suicide Squad, because in the beginning we see Captain Boomerang and Harley see each other again, like, hey, how you doing? But they don't really get into the plot. They're like, hey, remember when we destroyed that giant blue laser in the sky from God? But no, like, this movie just kicks off immediately. We see Michael Rooker in a beautiful opening shot of him playing with the puddle, and then it flips up, you see him, and then we get very much introduced to the whole, hey, fuck up, you die. Anyway, so they're set into the Suicide Squad, which I don't really say it's in the trailer, but they're actually a B team. Of course, I'm gonna get spoilers. Fuck this. I'm gonna get to all the spoilers right now. So remember, this isn't title spoilers. Right now, spoilers. So they're the B team, and they'll die horribly. Pete Davidson was advertised very well in the movie. He's advertised, but I realized, yeah, he's probably gonna die. It's Pete Davidson playing Blackguard, a character no one even knows. Like, I barely heard of him, and I read a lot of comic books. Like, even King Shark's not that well known. People probably think King Shark was invented for a Harley Quinn show, because if you don't read a lot of comics, you don't know what King Shark. I think he might come out in the CW in one of those DC shows. I remember Kevin Smith was talking about in Q&A, says Jason Mewes calling to say, turn your TV right now, and Kevin Smith got scared. The last time Jason Mewes, Jay% Jason Bob, told him to turn your TV in right now, it's literally on September 11th, 2001. Like, holy shit, the terrorists attacking again? Then he turned on the TV, turns out Jay wanted to see live action King Shark, so, But yeah, Pete Davidson bites it. They all bite it. Like, literally everybody. Michael Rooker, I knew was gonna fucking die because one is Michael Rooker. In the James Gunn movie, let's be honest, every James Gunn movie has Michael Rooker, he's died, except for Guardians Volume 1. But he literally dies in the next movie, and seriously one of the best scenes of the whole film. But yeah, Michael Rooker kind of makes it. Basically, he's like the professional, but he's watching all these people fucking die horribly. Like, Nathan Fillion gets shot multiple times because his only power is to detach his arms, and that's it. This guy who's like looks like a fucking supermodel with an accent, Harley Quinn says, and I love how he's like, all American women love accents. Harley Quinn says, we do, because we got none. Say no. Harley's not have accents, really funny line. I mean, Jai Courtney fucking dies like not even 10 minutes into the movie, and he's like a main character in the first movie, but then again, Suicide Squad. So that was expected, but I do like the brief moment he's in there. He's basically being Captain Boomerang. Because it's funny, because one of the least cringiest things about the first movie is fucking Captain Boomerang. Fucking Captain Boomerang. One of the silliest characters ever. And they somehow did fuck him up in the Suicide Squad movie. I kind of wish he'd stay a little longer so you could see James Gunn play with him more. But that whole banter in the fucking plane where Pete Davidson asked what kind of dog this is when it was actually a weasel. Like, what do you kind of think it is, Mike? And he's actually making fun of him. And it's like, and then I think it's Afghan Hound. And Jack Courtney, what the fuck Afghan Hound comes? Just great banter. And then, of course, Pete Davidson playing Blackguard, who I don't know much about, literally sells him out. Like, there's all the soldiers literally go to the area where the B team is and kill them all literally. And, of course, Michael Rooker has to get out of there because I think he has some sort of I don't even know his backstory. Basically, he was some sort of, like, computer hacker thing, but I'm guessing the way he was looking at the battlefield, watching all these people die, and he's, like, frantically trying to get out of there, knowing if he leaves the mission, he'll die. I'm guessing he has some sort of PTSD, which is portrayed real by Michael Rooker, because when you first see him, he looks on edge, like, he's literally just bouncing a ball, like, so well. Like, he's a marksman. He kills a bird with a ball, bouncing all over the wall. So I think James Gunn is sadly saying just visually, or just from Michael Rooker's acting, he's seen some shit. So seeing all the people die brutally in very dumb fashions kind of makes him run away, and of course that man of water blows his head. Now in the first Suicide movie, the first person to die is Slipknot. Of course he does. A man who could climb anything. Like, seriously, how's that fucking superpower? A man who could climb anything. What the fuck? Anyway, so when he dies, his head explodes, but it's very non-graphic. It blows up. You see a quick shot of his headless body. This time around, it's James Gunn directing, so Michael Rooker's head blows up. It's everywhere. Like, there's pieces everywhere. And I also like that the people working at Amanda Waller are always taking bets who's gonna die. So, like, during the whole opening credits of these dead bodies being shown while the song goes, talking about who died, who died, who died. Like, a song about people who died. It's a punk song. Really good song, actually. And there's just, it's funny because you see opening credits, it says, like, Jai Courtney, Peter Davidson, and that's literally the only scenes that are next to it. I think Pete Davidson is in one more scene because it takes place 3 days earlier, so he's still alive. But yeah, Jai Courtney's credits and literally his dead body. But hey, he caught the boomerang even in death. He was literally being burned alive by jet fuel from a helicopter, or helicopter fuel, and he still caught his boomerang, so that's cool. And I think it's funny. It's not funny, but it's really sad when Harley Quinn does have a relationship with Captain Boomerang. They're actually friends. When she sees him about to die, she yells out "Boomer," but I'm sure she doesn't know Boomer is a term. I think she calls him Captain Boomerang Boomer because Boomerang, but you know, I think that's an inside joke. Like, Harley Quinn probably doesn't know that, but James Gunn, being in the know, he's on Twitter all the time, he's probably heard Boomer all the time, so he probably wrote that in as a joke. But yeah, it was sad actually. Then Rick Flag gets captured, Harley gets captured. I was going through the plot a little bit, but what really makes this one work is there's so many characters. Now, when people don't like Guardians Part 2 is it's too long. Well, my thing is Guardians is only 2 so long because there's so many characters and they'll get payoffs. Rocket Raccoon got a payoff, you know. Rocket Raccoon. Is it? Yeah, Rocket Raccoon. I keep thinking I said Rocky Raccoon like the Beatles song, but I said Rocket. And in this movie, everyone gets a payoff, but James Gunn has the liberty of cutting their story short, whether it be comedically or just by them dying horribly, or just both. Like, if a character you feel like, I get to know this guy, I hope he's fucking dies, and James Gunn closes that story thread, says he's fucking dead, there's nothing he can do. And I don't understand, like, every review I've seen this movie is too long. Like, I'm guessing they can't just be sucking James Gunn's dick like I'm doing right now and just give a glowing review without saying some criticism. I have like no criticisms. I absolutely love this movie. I don't think it's too long. It's literally 2 minutes shorter than Black Widow. 2 minutes, and it's really not even that long. Like, I was watching it on HBO Max right now to refresh my memory for the review because I literally saw it in IMAX about a couple hours ago and I slept. I was like, I need to watch it, just some bits and pieces. And I looked at it, and the movie literally has a 2 hour and 3 minute mark, so it's literally 2 hours and 3 minutes. The only reason it's 2 hours and 12 minutes is because they have like 10 minutes of credits because there's so many people working on it, and then like a minute or 2 minute after credit scene. It actually makes sense. Black Widow is 2 hours and 14 minutes, and we should not even been 2 hours and 14 minutes. It shouldn't even been made, to be honest. Black Widow was just like, why did I have to watch a movie about the Red Room? End of the road. Like, I would rather watch a movie about her sister. Like, Black Widow loves Scarlett Johansson, she's awesome, but her sister's much more interesting. Like, the only scene that gave me any emotional impact is when Black Widow's sister was crying at the dinner table saying that, how can you guys be saying this is all fake, the best part of my life, when they're pretending to be a family for 3 years in Ohio was all fake. And I was like, holy shit. There's a reason that lady's nominated for an Oscar, not Scarlett Johansson. She can fucking act. And of course, David Harbour's great. Back to Suicide Squad. Back to Marvel. Back to DC. What? Fuck. No, it goes back to Marvel. Fuck. Oh well. And, yeah. So, that's the main gist. James Gunn is able to cut some of these story shorts and make it seriously funny and seriously violent. Now, back to the story later, but let me tell you this, guys. I literally had to tell my girlfriend, who can barely handle violence, like, she loves Deadpool, but she can't handle anything more than Deadpool. And I told her, hey, I'm literally gonna watch it, like, opening day on August 5th. I think she's gonna watch it later with, like, her grandpa and aunt. And I think, even before I saw the movie, I read all this stuff, how horribly violent it is. Like, well, this is James Gunn. It's rated R. Like, it's not fucking Marvel going down the road saying you can't offend anybody, you can't have weird jokes, you can't have dirty jokes. It's a kid's movie. And of course, James Gunn being like, okay, I can still make a fun, funny movie without the dark humor. But here DC is like, you know what? Joker worked. It made like $1 billion. It was rated R. I think people are ready for an R-rated Suicide Squad movie, which is what people really wanted. The fact that PG-13 was not really the fact it fell. The fact it fell was a terrible script, and David Ayer was just not the right person. Because Suicide Squad is fucking weirdos. David Ayer is makes like fucking. He makes like weirdo gangster hard. Like he's the guy who wrote Training Day. He directed and I watch great movies, but they're all like in L.A. All about these gangsters. Like gangsters. That sounds weird. These gangsters who walk around the streets tattooed up. Like that's not Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad is these weird villains. Like James Gunn is perfect for that. Anyway, so I was telling my girlfriend, yeah, I think you can like, if you can't handle this movie, I highly doubt your aunt can. I highly doubt your fucking 8-year-old grandpa can. Like, yes, it's got John Cena, which is very kid friendly. It's got fucking all these great actors, and the first movie PG-13. I'm sure you can handle that. But just from reading the reviews and the fact is, fucking James Gunn is R-rated and he's got cut loose. Like, man, I remember I was watching the Adult Toaster reviews. They're like, fucking Deadpool. He put James Gunn fucking just took the dead out of the pool and he's fucking just pooling now. Like even Deadpool can hold a candle to how violent this movie is. Like Deadpool, I think the first one was mostly due to budget. It couldn't be super violent. Even the second one was violent, but it had all those emotional scenes that just so amazing. Like fuck Ryan Reynolds. No, I mean, so, like seriously, he didn't ruin Deadpool too, but he kind of make it super hard. Like he literally just fired Tim Miller, which is the only reason the first Deadpool worked. Like I'll be honest, Ryan Reynolds really made me laugh in the first Deadpool movie. I was more laughing at T.J. Miller, who's not the director. That's Tim Miller. It gets really confusing. But T.J. Miller is the funniest part to me in Deadpool, and he's also the funniest part in Deadpool 2. Sadly, he's not going to be Deadpool 3 because I think around that time the movie came out, he literally got so drunk he called in a bomb threat. I think T.J. Miller needs help. Like, really help. Like, if you get drunk and calling a bomb threat, that's serious. Like, sure, you get drunk, you get funny on the plane, but calling a bomb threat, that's a literal federal crime. Yes, he's intoxicated, so I'm sure they won't give him the full punishment. I don't even know what happened. I'm pretty sure he got some punishment. He's an actor. Sure, he's gonna get punishment, but like, he's probably not in a cool state of mind, but he's not innocent completely because he could have just not called the bomb threat in the first place. It's just weird. I mean, tangent again. I love movies because I do tangents, but yes, Deadpool is nowhere near as violent as this. So I told my girlfriend, hey, look, this movie is apparently violent. I'm gonna go watch it, and I watched it. I said, okay, we're at the, I kind of had to guess because my phone was off. I was trying to save battery, but like, we're literally about the 10-15 minute mark. At least 6 characters have died horribly and very graphically. One of them has his fucking brains picked out by a bird, which is a funny payoff to a gag. Like, yeah, this is not their kind of movie. She likes fun superhero movies. She likes fluff. She likes a movie that make you feel good inside. Suicide Squad movie has that, but the opening is so mean-spirited. These characters die brutally. I'm like, she's not gonna like this. Now why do I love this movie? Am I some sicko who just wants to watch people commit suicide? Suicide Squad, get it? Trigger warning. What's that? Okay, hey, this video is sponsored by BetterHelp. You wanna get ripped off by people who say they're therapists and they probably just went to fucking psych class and community college and say they're real therapy, and then you look at their user agreement says they're not real therapists, they contact you as a therapist and you pay like $300 a month, or like instead of us going to your government asking for insurance, hey, I don't make that much money, therapy's expensive, please give me at least fucking, if you're not gonna give me medical care, at least give me fucking mental health care, which is a lot cheaper compared to medical bills. And then you go and you get a real therapist, you talk about your problems, you have a wonderful life. But if you don't want that, BetterHelp can help you. What am I going about? Anyway, so yeah, this movie is not me being a fucking mental. I mean, I do have 3 mental disorders, but that's beside the point. I just love violent movies, and I always have. And James Gunn is literally who I want to be when I grow up. I'm 26. What I mean is, when I become a director, which is very soon, I hope, I want to make movies that people love, where they love the characters, and when someone dies, whether it be a minor character, they fucking cry. James Gunn did this movie. So basically, James Gunn has this sweet side to him. Like, it started being spirited. Like, this whole scene, I'm trying to. So basically, there's Ratcatcher 2. Ratcatcher 1 is her dad. And Idris Elba is obviously afraid of rats in one scene, and she asks, why do you love rats so much? And Ratcatcher 2, played by a great actress who I've never really seen before, Danielle is her first name. You can look her up right now. I know it starts with a C, but I can't remember. Anyway, she says the reason rats, her dad, was a junkie. Like, she kept saying problems, but it kept showing him, like, shooting up. He was obviously a junkie. But he loved his daughter, and he gave her this technology where she could control rats. So she donned the name Ratcatcher 2, moved to America, was involved in bank robbery, and I'm guessing to make money, the rats were considered like deadly weapons, something like that. It was kind of ridiculous. Anyway, she was in prison for a long time, and this is their way out, pretty much. I'm guessing, I don't know. It's funny because, according to Amanda Waller, you get 10 years out of your sentence. And let's say you got a 6-year sentence, right? Like, fucking lifetime sentence. What if you do 6 jobs successfully? What then, Amanda Waller? You're gonna let this crazy criminal walk the streets free if he did 6 jobs? Because he's so good at the suicide mission, she's probably gonna put him in every job, because according to this, Harley and Jack Courtney did such a good job, just like saving the world. They literally hired them again. So technically, Harley Quinn and Jack Boomerang, if successful, had at least 20 years off their sentence. So even if someone has like a fucking 60-year prison sentence, which is possible, like they have to commit very heinous crimes. Like people have like 100-year sentences, like they're never getting out of jail. It's basically like saying, you know, you're never getting out. You literally committed all these crimes, add up to 100 years in prison. And people are like, well, I'm gonna live to 100. I'm like 50 right now. So like, or even they're 10 years old in prison, they're not gonna live that long. So I'm just saying, like, this is kind of a weird system, man. Like, why 10 years? Like, it's too much. Like, literally 6 jobs and someone can walk home free. It's kind of weird. Anyway, and yes, the movie is very violent, very funny, and back to what I was saying. Ralph Ratcatcher 2, and she says, yeah, it's just a really sweet moment about her and her dad, and Idris Elba opens up to his character. Like, he's a very hard-shelled man. I don't want to say, he's just Deadshot. No, he's Bloodsport, which is different from Deadshot. But, yes, he's another African-American gentleman who can shoot very good. And has a daughter. But they're very different. In their first scene, they literally cuss at each other. And Idris Elba's only advice to the girl who was going to court because she literally stole a watch was like, next time you steal something, have a partner. And she's like, you're not even mad? Like, I'm not mad. I have a fucking stupid got caught. Like, she sells a watch and watch TV, one of the smart watches. Idris Elba doesn't give a shit. He's just sad that her daughter is there. And then he says, I'm a bad parent. You shouldn't follow my footsteps of stealing, doing crime. You should be doing good. And they just like in a shouting match. Like, there's nothing like Suicide Squad where Deadshot loves his daughter. Obviously, I'm sure Bloodsport does too, but in a less obvious way. He's literally telling her, stay away from me, stay away from jail. Like, don't be like me. Like, that's his love. He has never had love before. And you find out later his father's abusive, so he doesn't know how to care his little girl. Deadshot, obviously, horrible person, kills people for money, but has a heart of gold. Like, his daughter's his life. Like, he literally, his only demands really is for his daughter to go to a good school. His daughter has, you know, he can visit her all the time. His wife doesn't have hesitation and all that. Basically, that's it. It's kind of funny. It's like, I do remember one line do likes like, he's talking about his daughter's, his wife's, Will Smith in Suicide Squad. Like, and my wife's deadbeat boyfriend can't come. And we're fine. No, he can't come. Cause he's basically humoring him all his demands, which is a funny scene. Actually, Rick Flag, when you really think about it, he's not that much of a different character. I mean, yes, he's more comedic, but he has some really funny dialogue. It was more like military, you know, being like kind of like gruff and like it's just funny. Here he's more laid back. And a bit of a ladies' man, actually. He was obviously trying to hit on the resistance leader and the... Why did I talk about plot? Right, let's scrap up. Just like in the movie, let's go back a bit. Because I was talking about it. It's just because, man, one day I posted one of my reviews on Reddit, and this guy, I'm sure he didn't watch the whole video, probably watched like the first minute. So this isn't a review, bro. You always taught to summarize the movie. Like, well, maybe you watched more than the first minute. All I did in the first minute is say how much I loved the opening scene, and then I continued to talk about the movie out of sequence and talk about what I liked, was something you said I didn't do, and then I got banned off our movies just because I posted reviews on there, something people do all the time, but yeah, according because this one guy said it's not a review, even though I didn't watch the whole video, so I'm very scared of just talking about plot points, and people are saying, you know it's not ruining the movie, fuck. So yes, the basic plot, like I said, Suicide Squad has to infiltrate a South American country and stop Project Starfish, which is not to do with buttholes as Peacemaker stuff. If I saw Peacemaker a bit, John Cena's Peacemaker is great. He's literally, I think it works because when he was in wrestling, he started off as like a white rapper dude, but then they made him like the Marine, the guy who stands up for America, and he's playing this. He's playing literally pretty much. He's not even a Marine. He's like a fucking psychopathic killer, and he literally just does everything for liberty. Like there's a line that says like, I love the blood and bullshit and Morty, and then the right catcher, aren't you Peacemaker? It's like, yes, I love peace. I don't care how many women and children I have to kill to achieve it. I'm like, this guy's great. Like, I think James Gunn told John Cena to play him as a douchey, douchey bro Captain America. Like, very douchey, very conceited. The whole fact that Idris Elba and him are both on the same mission makes sense later, but they both have the same skill sets, but they have like a friendly competition where they try to kill as many people as possible. Yeah. Yeah, as far as Starfish, yes, it's Starfish. Peter Caballari, who plays the, I believe, 12th Doctor? Or, no, yeah, it's the 12th Doctor. Might be, because I think 13th is the woman, or else she's the 14th. I'm not big on Doctor Who. I know the 10th Doctor is probably David Tennant. I think the 9th is Christopher Alexic. And then, I don't know who 11th was. Maybe David Tennant was 11th. I don't remember. Or it was Matt Smith. Either one. I could have mixed them. Anyway, the guy played either 12th or 14th, 12th, 13th Doctor is the bad guy. Not the bad guy, but the scientist. And we know who the bad guy is. Harley Quinn kills the bad guy pretty quick, but it's funny because the guy tries to seduce her, but he's talking about killing kids, and then he shoots him and he says, I'm sorry, but I made a promise to myself that if I wanted to date a guy, I had no red flags, and like killing kids is a total red flag, so he kills him. And then the big bad guy becomes Joaquin Cosio, one of the greatest Mexican actors ever. And he's great in this movie, and I love how they let him speak mostly just Spanish and subtitled it. He can speak English, but his voice in Spanish is so good. Like, he becomes the villain because his partner was shot dead by Harley Quinn. He just says, I love him like a brother. He's too much of a romantic playing with his fucking birds. He got a little bird cage I used to use Harley Quinn with. And he literally burns the birds alive. Like, this guy's evil. He wants to rule America. He wants to rule the whole world with an iron fist. So he's gonna release part of Starfish on anybody who talks back. And his final scene where it's just him, like basically Starfish gets out, is killing all his men, and he's like, he takes off his general hat, looks around, like there's no dialogue, it's just amazing music and amazing facial acting from Joaquin Cosio. We realizes, holy shit, everything I worked for is dead. My whole army is dead. I'm a dead man. So he literally takes off his hat and is literally waiting for one of these starfish things to suck on his face. So this villain is a space alien. This is basically like a face hugger. He literally takes your conscience and kills you slowly and just makes you his part of his body. And the more people he gets, the bigger he grows. Now this is what I have to say. John Cena's character, Peacemaker, is more of a psychopath than anything. When Rick Flag comes down to see all these people and how they're controlled by the big thing, like little children were tested on, and it turns out Peter Capaldi says, the only reason you guys are here is to destroy any evidence that the U.S. had anything to do with Project Starfish. And no, it's not like an overt thing, but yes, the U.S. government has done some questionable things over enemy lines because no press is there, and if they have no press, it's like nothing happened. It's like celebrity scandals, One week we hear about something, we forget it the next week because somebody else did something stupider. Here it's like, we never heard about it, so no one knows. So Rick Flag wants to take the hard drive and show it to the world, but of course Peacemaker, he's a peacemaker, so there'd be so much controversy, he kills Rick Flag. Now all these characters that die, I was like, he killed Rick Flag and Captain Boomerang. Two of my favorite characters from the original film. I think the only character James Gunn had no right to kill, or he just couldn't, was Harley Quinn, because she's a cash cow. Not really, because her first solo movie didn't do well, but what I'm saying is, people love her and they're not allowed to die. And, yeah. So John Cena is trying to be a complete asshole, a sociopath who's going to stop for nothing to achieve his mission, and of course, Idris Elba shoots him in the fucking neck. And as I said, their path to rivalry ends funny, because the small bullet breaks his big bullet, goes through his neck, and like, quote unquote, kills him. No, he doesn't. And you say as your credits, he's actually still alive, and there's an undergarment carrier, and he's gonna make good revenge for Amanda Waller. Because once they defeat the Starfish, and before I go into that, Polka Dot Man does a lot of the work. Polka Dot Man is, James Gunn says, the dumbest DC character, but they make him sympathetic. He literally has the genetic virus, an alien virus in his body by his mother because she wanted to make superheroes. And he has a scene where he literally is dancing around with some girls in yellow because his mother, he hates her, loves, I don't even know how he feels. Also in that movie is a gentleman's club, so he has her titties, and Lloyd Kaufman. This is definitely an R-rated movie. So yeah. So once they defeat Starfish, they literally blackmail them underwater into not letting them all die and telling them if he even touches his daughter or goes near her, Deadshot, Bloodstrokes, he'll leak all the video, any kind of evidence that America was behind it all. So happy ending in a way. It's all blackmail. King Shark again is great. Uh, Everyone was amazing. Some people died. Polka Man died. It got me. Every death got me, except for like the first couple, which are all comedic. Other than that, they're all very sad. And yes, Taika Waititi is in this movie, and I didn't realize he played Ratcatcher 1, Ratcatcher 2's dad. And so he started talking, and the scene that made me cry because in the end of the movie, the starfish says, "This city is mine," and then Ratcatcher still has her little staff, says, "No, the city is there." And the starfish is seduced by like millions of rats. And it flashes back to the girl saying, "Why rats, Papa?" Meaning, why control rats? And it's Taika Waititi, and you can actually hear her speak, say, "Because rats are the most despised and less, and people just hate rats." And he says, "If they all have purpose, so can we." I just started bawling in the theater. I'm like, oh no. Like, this is so sweet. This is James Gunn showing the sweetness in a scene where a giant starfish is being devoured by rats for Harley Quinn. Fucking uses a staff that one of the Suicide Squad members tells her, "You're the only one who's fit enough to carry the staff." It was a really sweet moment. And she uses that staff to puncture the monster's eye, letting all the rats in a beautiful shot where they're in these fluids. Harley Quinn is floating, and these rats are chewing out the monster and killing it. It was amazing. And there's a payoff for the father, because her daughter sees her dad on TV saving this country, like basically saving the world as well, saying, "That's my dad, so proud," and it's really sweet. Okay, I haven't done enough. I love the movies. Shocking, violent. Like James Gunn. Watch it. Bye.